The wrong one. There we go. All right. Hey, welcome everybody. Meteorologist Kevin Phelps here. We're going to be talking about our post-Thanksgiving storm system. And I'm going to give everybody here a little time to join both our YouTube and our Facebook feeds. Feel free to drop any sort of comments in here. I'm going to do my best to get to those. And I know everybody has a lot of questions about this. Hey, so do we. That's part of the science, right? The more information we get, the more the forecast changes. But right now, we're continuing to see growing signs of our first impactful snow of this season. There's going to be several reasons for this that we'll dive into deeper detail on. But at least as it stands right now, we have this strong cold front that arrives tonight, and this is going to put the cold air in place for several days ahead of Thanksgiving weekend. The reason that's important, it's been very warm here in November. Our roads are very warm, so this is going to allow that pavement temperature to gradually cool off, which in turn should allow snow to begin to stick to it, or a wintry mix, depending on how things kind of play out as we get into our holiday weekend. So with that being said, this is probably going to be our first snow where it might be a little bit difficult to travel. And hey, you know what happens this weekend? It's the busiest travel weekend of the year, or at least one of those. Maybe trying to get home from wherever you went on Thanksgiving, or maybe your loved ones are heading back home to their destination. So that is what we're looking at in terms of our first alert day. Right now, I don't think this will be the biggest snowstorm we've ever seen or anything like that, but this is something that we want to hammer home because there's probably going to be a lot of people on the roads, and anytime we get our first snow, whether it's a half or a full inch, we tend to have a lot of accidents on the road. We just need that reminder, hey, to slow down on those roads. So Chucky's already chiming in here on Facebook. Is it going to snow in Sterling on Friday night and Saturday morning? Well, I'm certainly going to dive into details on that, but long story short, yeah, it's probably going to be snowing, especially early morning Saturday and kind of winding down on Saturday afternoon. So we'll get into some more of these details for you, Chucky. Just checking some of our other chat here over on YouTube. And Madeline, do you have anything to say behind here? You want to join in on this?
Sure.
What did you hear about Thanksgiving travel here this morning?
So if you're traveling through the Quad Cities International Airport, you shouldn't see that big of a difference because it is a smaller airport. But if you're going through Chicago, get there 3 to 4 hours early just in case your flight gets delayed. Download your airline's app. It's the best way to get the most real-time updates, but they're kind of playing it by ear, same as us here, just until they can get more information.
Right. Cool. Well, I think that's really good information in terms of having that airline app. That's where you're going to communicate with all their support people. And
Definitely.
yeah, might need it here on Saturday. So
for sure.
Thanks for hopping on here. Wait, that's how we're just running all around here. So let's see. I'm going to hop back on over to our Facebook comments and see if we have anybody else joining on there. So here's the long story short. Not really the long story short. We'll pull the map full here. This is kind of the model comparison of our long-range models. We have a couple of them that have been pretty consistently showing widespread snow across the upper Midwest. I specifically stopped this at noon. This is going to be one of these events that I think potentially impacts a large swath of our region. So whether you're traveling north, south, east, or west, I think you could have some of these issues. And you can kind of see right now that rain snow line kind of setting up along that Interstate 70 corridor. So let's kind of take a deeper look at this. Here's Model 1's animation. I'm going to kind of take this again step by step. This is Saturday morning at midnight. Those are the air temperatures that I have overlaid on there. So this is going to be one of those warmer snows, which means it's kind of efficient at producing rainfall, or I should say snowfall. So model number 1 shows snow starting up around midnight across our area, continuing through sunrise, and then continuing through those midday hours. We're kind of taking this on a 6-hour by 6-hour increment here, with temperatures again right around freezing, or maybe not getting much above that. So this is why I think we're going to have that ability to see things kind of stick to the ground as we get into the day on Saturday. So right now what I'm looking at is probably Saturday, the worst travel day of the weekend. Friday and Sunday, right now, we're getting 2 thumbs up on that, but we will certainly see those road conditions deteriorate throughout the day on Saturday as we pull this map back full. A lot of this is going to be wrapping up by sunrise on Sunday. Now again, this is only just one of what are a million model runs out there, but it does show improving conditions here on Saturday. Those, or I should say on Sunday, but those are temperatures. If we get this fresh blanket of snow on the ground, we have the potential for some very cold air here this weekend in the teens, maybe for afternoon highs on Sunday. Now, on the flip side, here's what model number 2 is showcasing right now. As you get towards midnight, it is also showing some snow firing up here across the area, continuing through sunrise, and then maybe beginning to wind down a little earlier than the other model run was, but still showing snow around the midday hours with temperatures in the 30s here on Saturday. And then this one maybe a little bit quicker to move out on Sunday morning, but just like the other, it's showing that when you have a fresh blanket of snow on the ground, temperatures will be very cold as we clear our skies, and both have been pretty consistent with this here over the last 24 hours. So I'm going to keep the severe weather threats here full. Well, in terms of tornadoes or anything like that, that is obviously not a big concern. I think the worst travel time is going to be from midnight Saturday, probably through about midnight on Sunday, but specifically in the midday, early afternoon hours there. On Saturday, low visibility there throughout. Notice we have this rain or wintry mix in there. There's another system potentially impacting the area getting into Monday following this weekend. And the gusty winds will be certainly from the south early on in this system. I don't think this is something that's going to be a super windy event throughout. And because our temperatures are right around that freezing mark, this would be one more of those heavier snows, which isn't as easy to kind of blow around. So that's what we're tracking, at least as of right now. I know we're going to get questions on how much snow do we expect. I'm going to focus on impacts. I will show you what models are outputting and how things are kind of all over the place here right now. Again, there is growing confidence that we're going to have snow this weekend, but the snowfall amounts are still very much to be determined, and truth be told, the impacts out of the snow outweigh how much snow we get. Once you get more than 6 inches in any location, you could have 3 feet or 6 inches. The impacts are the exact same for us. So roads are going to be slippery. You're not going to want to travel. But here you go. There's just the model comparison. We have some showing as much as 0. We have some showing as much as 10. These details and everything are going to get much more condensed here as we get into the next several days once this storm system kind of pulls on shore. Now, as Madeline was talking about for some of our air travel here today, we have some delays ongoing right now at the O'Hare Airport. I've seen some delays at the Moline Airport for all the flights heading to Chicago. We also have some flights that are heading to Orlando on Allegiant. That has been delayed for 3 hours now. That one doesn't take off until noon, but I do expect to see some delays to develop if you are maybe flying towards Atlanta later on today. Now, in terms of our holiday travel, I'm only looking at the next 12 hours. So again, if you do have some flight plans here today, you'll certainly encounter some rain out there in Atlanta, and areas to our east is where I think we could start to see those delays begin to pile up. So you can see these areas highlighted in yellow and orange. This is where we have probably a moderate impact in terms of delays, and then you have areas across the Twin Cities where they're probably going to be delaying a lot of flights because they have snow and wind in those areas. So obviously we're going to keep our eyes on that here moving forward. We're going to pull this map full for you, and I'm going to take a look at some of the other questions here. So Mary for Comanche, again, everybody, we're looking at our first measurable snow of the season. I can't get into exact specifics on that, but just know that is something that we're going to continue to monitor here over these next few days. Just checking the YouTube feed, seeing what people got questions there as well. But here's just a live look at everything outside. You're probably seeing something similar in your neighborhood, but we have seen improving conditions in Bettendorf, certainly in Burlington. Now, Skyview obviously is on top of our building. It's a little bit higher in the sky, so still dealing with that fog, but certainly improving here off to our south. So what I think is going to happen here is over these next few hours, we're going to see improving visibility, meaning the dense fog advisory will expire here at 10 o'clock. Doesn't mean you're going to see any clouds or any sunshine. We're going to get back to the mid-50s. This is the time where we need to enjoy this warmth, because after tonight, I foresee us having a long stretch of colder than normal temperatures. Now again, we got to put everything in perspective. Average highs are in the 40s. So we're likely looking at several days in the 20s and 30s here as we get into the next several days. Here we are at 9 p.m. Our rainfall at this point has completely pushed east of the area. We're going to have west winds picking up, and it's certainly going to be a little bit breezy here overnight. Good news is, I think for the holiday train that's moving through the area today, aside from some raindrops here around 6 in the evening, the winds kind of don't really start to pick up until after a lot of those performances are done. I think Muscatine starts at 7:45 here tonight. By 8 o'clock, we're still feeling like the upper 30s. We've certainly had colder days for the holiday train to come through, but that's at least what we're looking at right now for your holiday train. Now, check out what happens here by tomorrow morning. Yeah, we're in the low 30s. We have some scattered flurries. Winds are going to gust to 40 miles per hour. So this is just another part of the story here that's going to help lay the groundwork for the potential of snow here this weekend. So this is going to be the start of the stretch where our pavement temperatures begin to lower. That gives us the opportunity to have some of the slippery travel. So as you head into Wednesday afternoon, we gradually clear out the cloud cover and you have these northwest winds gusting to 40 all day long. So if you are traveling tomorrow, it is going to be quite breezy and those crosswinds will be strong in certain areas. I'd also imagine this could cause some delays at airports with those gustier winds. Now, you're not going to feel much warmer than the 20s there on Wednesday, and then we continue with clear skies. Hey, for Turkey Day, we have a lot of sunshine. Problem is, those northwest winds just continue, and it is not going to be all that warm either, as we only recover again to the 30s in the afternoon. Here you are for the turkey trot. Hope to see some of y'all out there as we're going to feel like the teens to near 20 degrees. Very similar actually to what played out last year on Thanksgiving for the turkey trot. So cold nonetheless, you can layer up, keeps you moving, right? And burn those calories before you fill up on all that yummy food there on Thanksgiving afternoon. So here you go, over the next 7 days, there's your early first alerts out there for Saturday and Sunday. I think most of our snow is now likely to occur on Saturday and wrapping up around sunrise on Sunday. So that's kind of the long and the short of it. And here's what we're tracking here over the next really 24 to 36 hours. I'll pull that full for us, and then I'm going to jump into the comments and start answering some additional questions for you here early on. Travel tip, pack extra medications. I like that one, Madeline. That's a really good idea, especially if you are traveling on Saturday and you get delayed or canceled, you're probably going to need some of that. So yeah, that's another really good travel tip here for you. If you haven't done so already and winterized your car, maybe get some kitty litter or some sand in there as well. If you happen to get stuck, if you're out and about, have maybe some water, things like that. I know it's kind of early in the season, but yes, that strong front is going to arrive here tonight. I'll jump this forward to the first alert day and I'll do one more kind of run through and breakdown of what we're going to expect here getting into the weekend. So I'm not seeing too many more comments right now. I don't want to do that. There we go. What happened? How much snow? I know everybody's going to keep asking that question, and we will get to that more so later. So we've been going on here for about 10 and 11 minutes. We're going to do this again here tomorrow morning. We'll have better idea of the timing and the track of it, but this is the first noticeable snow here of the season. When I say noticeable or notable, yeah, we had some earlier in the year, but it didn't really stick to anything, right? So this is kind of the first time that we're going to maybe have to break out the shovels and things like that and kind of just do our winter cleanup, right? This is going to be a good practice for us. Unfortunately, it just happens to be on one of the busier travel weekends of the year, and we all know what happens with the first snows, that we tend to have a lot of fender benders. Now, we'll just kind of have to see how things play out with that. So we'll run through this here again. Here's that model comparison. We'll pull this full. These are two of our long-range models that are consistently demonstrating snow across the Midwest. Now, here's what I want to kind of talk about here is that this is still several days out. We have the potential for, the rain snow line to shift to the north if we get a little bit more warm air into this system. On the other side of this, if we get more cold air, this could help push the snow line even further to the south. Now, right now we're kind of consistently in the all snow range. So again, if we have a 50-mile track to the north of these model runs, that might take the snow completely out of some of our southern counties. That's why the track of the system and the timing of it is going to totally dictate what we get. And that's something that we are not going to know until maybe Thanksgiving evening at the earliest. So here's just a look at those two long-range models. We'll take each of them step by step. Here's model number one. It is showing snow starting up as early as midnight on Saturday morning and continuing through sunrise, through the midday hours on Saturday. It's also keeping our temperatures around freezing, which means this should be able to stick to everything. Now, notice by midnight Sunday morning, that rain snow line is setting up just south and east of Macomb into Peoria. So there's maybe that chance for some freezing drizzle in those areas. And then this begins to wrap up on Sunday morning. And notice by Sunday afternoon, temperatures potentially in the teens. Now, you're saying, why would it be in the teens? That's our warmest time of the day. Well, what happens is with a model that is predicting some substantial amounts of snow, that fresh blanket on the ground, that keeps things quite cold. So if this type of scenario plays out, both these long-range models are advertising this. This would lead to some potentially near record cold temperatures here as we get into the first couple of days of December. Now, that's just model number one. Here's what model number two does. This is pretty consistent right now. Yesterday, these models were not on the same page. Today, they happen to be, and until we're able to sample this storm system with a weather balloon and see this kind of pull on shore, it's really kind of hard to see how these models are going to verify, right? So we're just doing best with the information that we have right now. But right now, this also shows snow starting up as early as midnight Saturday, continuing through sunrise, continuing through the midday hours, also keeping temperatures around freezing, meaning this should stick to everything. It's also wrapping up that snow around sunrise on Sunday, and then it also produces temperatures in the teens and 20s. What that's signaling is it also is expecting a blanket of snow on the ground. So again, I think the worst time frame to travel here as we pull this back full is going to be during the day on Saturday. So as we kind of circle these areas here, from 6 a.m. Saturday probably through 6 in the evening is probably the worst travel times in terms of accumulating snow and the worst visibility. Now, as snow begins to wind down, hanging on to Saturday night and Sunday morning, that will give crews time to kind of clean up some of those main roads. Obviously, the rural areas are going to be a little bit dicier with that. The windiest part of the system also happens to be prior to sunrise on Saturday morning, so the winds will relax, and because temperatures are right around freezing, this shouldn't allow for as much blowing snow for us here. Obviously, it'll blow sideways, but once it settles down onto the ground, it should stick, as this would be considered one of those heavier type snows or a little bit wetter snows. Good for packing, good for making snowmen, right? And good for the kids building snow forts here possibly this weekend. Now, again, snowfall amounts have to be taken with a grain of salt. We haven't put out, this is not an official forecast or anything. Models just kind of spit things out, right? There's anything from 0 to as much as 10 inches, depending on what is your favorite flavor of the day, right? So that is something that obviously we expect to get more lined up and together and kind of more of a cohesive agreement here as we get into the next several days. Now, we were talking about some holiday travel, packing some extra medications, especially if you have travel plans on Saturday, maybe pack some extra for Sunday and Monday as well. But we're experiencing some delays at the O'Hare Airport this morning. A lot of fog across the Midwest. So I know we already have some delays at the Moline Airport, specifically for those flights heading to Chicago here this morning. We also have a delay that on an Allegiant flight heading out to Orlando. So if you are traveling later today, there's going to be some rain along the East Coast. So if you are maybe traveling, say, towards Charlotte, maybe if you're traveling towards Atlanta, and of course Orlando, you're probably going to fly through some turbulence, and there's some potential delays as we get into the afternoon hours. Now that's only for today, but as we get into the holiday weekend, we're obviously going to be talking a lot more about that. But yeah, dense fog is starting to clear up there on our Bettendorf camera, and as you get into the Burlington area, we've actually seen visibility jump to about 7 miles there. You couldn't see anything out there this morning. So I'm not seeing any additional comments. That's kind of what we've been talking about here so far this morning. As this storm system inches closer to our area, obviously we're going to keep you really up to date on what we expect in terms of maybe the actual snowfall amounts, but I think the bottom line, our impacts are going to be slippery roads, some gusty winds, chilly temperatures, with the worst travel time on Saturday specifically. So if you have post-Thanksgiving travel plans, whether it's you or your loved ones, try to do it on Friday, or probably wait until about noon on Sunday, and we should see some of those improving conditions. So with that, we're going to wrap this up, and I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving holiday. And as a reminder, we're going to be doing these here throughout the rest of this week, as this again is the potential for our first kind of snow that will impact the area here over the upcoming days. So hopefully everybody has a great Thanksgiving day, and we'll kind of get back to normal here as we get into next week, and then of course we'll be on the full-on swing of the holidays.